Excellencies, colleagues, the 9,764th meeting of the Security Council is called to order. The provisional agenda for this meeting is the situation in Somalia. The agenda is adopted. In accordance with Rule 37 of the Council's Provisional Rules of Procedure, I invite the representative of Somalia to participate in this meeting. It is so decided. The Security Council will now begin its consideration of Item 2 of the agenda. I wish to draw Council members' attention to the Secretary-General's report on Somalia, document reference S/2024/698. Members of the Council have before them the text of the draft resolution, document reference S/2024/790, a draft resolution submitted by the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. The Council is ready to proceed to the vote on the draft resolution before it. I shall now put the draft resolution to a vote. Will those in favour of the draft resolution contained in document S/2024/790 please raise their hand. The result of the voting is as follows. The draft resolution received 15 votes in favour. The draft resolution has been adopted unanimously as Resolution 2753 of 2024. I'd now like to give the floor to members of the Council who would like to deliver a statement after the vote. I now give the floor to the United Kingdom.
President, colleagues, today's vote marks the beginning of a crucial period for Somalia, the UN and Somalia's international partners, as we move into a series of transitions, both of the UN's political presence in Somalia and, beginning next year, the AU mission. UNSOM has played an important role since its inception in 2013, supporting peace building and state building in Somalia through implementing its good offices, policy guidance, coordination, technical assistance, and capacity building functions. We are grateful for the significant efforts of UNSOM's leadership and staff throughout the 11 years since its establishment. As UNTMIS now takes over and begins its transition to a UN country team, the United Kingdom will continue to work closely with all relevant stakeholders to ensure this transition is progressive and phased, and that UNTMIS continues to deliver against the areas critical to Somalia's needs during this first phase. We now look ahead to elections over the coming years at both the federal member state and national levels, as well as significant changes in the AU security presence. The UN will continue to play a vital role throughout these processes. Finally, President, let me take this opportunity to thank Acting SRSG Swan for his leadership and commitment. I would also like to thank all colleagues on the Council for their constructive engagement on this resolution. Thank you.
I thank the representative of the United Kingdom. I give the floor to the representative of Sierra Leone.
Madam President, I have the honor to deliver this statement on behalf of the A3+ members, namely Algeria, Guyana, Mozambique, and my country, Sierra Leone. The A3+ thanks the United Kingdom for the constructive engagement and extensive consultations during the negotiation process on the draft resolution authorizing the transition of the United Nations Assistance Mission in Somalia to the United Nations country team. The A3+ recalls that the request from the federal government of Somalia was for a phased transition of the United Nations Assistance Mission in Somalia to the United Nations Transitional Assistance Mission in Somalia for a period of 2 years in collaboration with involved partners in order to provide assistance to Somalia to consolidate the progress against made in the state-building process. We are confident that UNTMIS will work in close coordination with the federal government of Somalia and the ATMIS successor mission in its stabilization efforts and its offensive against Al-Shabaab, respectively. The A3+ therefore voted in favor of the resolution just adopted, with a view to advance the effective implementation of the federal government of Somalia's security sector plan, as well as its national transformational plan, which are both critical for the security of Somalia and the wider region. The adoption of this resolution reflects in a concrete manner our collective acknowledgement of the progress registered by the federal government of Somalia in many respects, with important UN support over a period of many years. Such support from the UN has reached a point to be adapted to the realities and the needs on the ground in the final objective of handing over the responsibilities to the host country, in line with the principles and regulations governing UN presence, deployment, and withdrawal. Before getting to the end state, it is necessary to ensure the effective implementation of the resolution to enable UNTMIS to support state-building processes, including the constitutional review and efforts to conduct free and fair elections through inclusive and transparent one-person, one-vote processes, including through capacity building, technical assistance and policy guidance, and facilitation of dialogue to promote reconciliation. In conclusion, Madam President, the A3+ reiterates its unwavering support for Somalia and urges all partners to continue their collaborative efforts to support the country during this pivotal period. We also emphasize the importance of continuing to prioritize the interests of the Somali government in this transitional process. Together, we can support Somalia achieve lasting peace, security, and development. I thank you.
Je remercie.
I thank the representative of Sierra Leone. I give the floor to the representative of the United States.
President, the United States was pleased to vote in favor of renewing the mandate of the UN Assistance Mission in Somalia, to be known as the UN Transitional Assistance Mission in Somalia, UNTMIS. We continue to view this mission's role as critical to peace building, reform, reconciliation, and rule of law priorities, and ensuring those efforts are done in coordination with security efforts. We welcome that this resolution effectively continues UNSOM's mandate from UNSCR 2705, including its field presence, while incorporating recommendations from the joint UN Federal Government of Somalia Strategic Review, including measured phases in the transition. We are glad that this resolution requires the Council to consider conditions on the ground before each phase, should the situation change or deteriorate. Additionally, this resolution will allow UNSOM UNTMIS's leadership to exercise its good offices, encourages Somalia to make progress towards finalizing the Constitution, prepare for free and fair national and local elections, advance political, national, and local reconciliation, and promote human rights, including women's political participation, the freedom of expression, and the protection of journalists. At the same time, we are disappointed over the reporting requirements. This is not the time to decrease the number of reports and briefings to the Council, especially when the Council is considering the future of a post-UNTMIS mission. Finally, let me add a word of appreciation to Acting SRSG Jim Swan for his years of service in Somalia. We are very grateful for his leadership. Thank you, Madam President.
I thank the representative of the United States. I give the floor to the representative of China to take the floor.
Thank you, President. Just now, the Council unanimously adopted a resolution to formally commence the phased transition of UNSOM at the request of the Somali government. China welcomes its adoption. Since its establishment, UNSOM has made great efforts to support Somali political process and coordinate international assistance. At this pivotal time of transition, the UNTMIS must respect Somali leadership and ownership of the process, strengthen communication with the federal government of Somalia, and provide more tailored support in line with its national development priorities. It is important for the mission to strive to leave more blue heritage before the end of its phased transition. To this end, it must strengthen transfer of knowledge and skills to local employees and broaden procurement channels to help the local economy and improve people's livelihood. Thank you, President.
I thank the representative of China. I give the floor to the representative of the Russian Federation. Madam President, the Russian Federation supported the draft resolution submitted by the UK, a resolution on reformatting the activities of UNSOM. We're delighted that the document we've adopted reflects to a large extent Mogadishu's priorities, as set out in the Secretary-General's letter addressed to the President of the Security Council and dated 30th of August 2024. Yet a number of constructive proposals put forward by individual council members weren't taken into account. We note inter alia they included the high-value-added Chinese initiative, an initiative to grow procurement by the UN presence on the Somalian market. We attach particular importance to the fact that in the resolution, the Security Council sets a date for ending the mission's mandate, the 31st of October 2026. On this note, we support Mogadishu's intent to incorporate the mission's functions into the national system at pace. We take as a given that close coordination between UNSOM, the UN country team, and relevant Somalian agencies will be ensured at the requisite level. We stand convinced that ending the mission's mandate and transferring its functions is an important step on the path to state building in Somalia. The ultimate objective being for Mogadishu to get the opportunity to independently ensure peace and security throughout its sovereign territory. I thank you. I thank the representative of the Russian Federation. I now give the floor to the representative of Somalia.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Madam President, at the outset, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the pen holder, the UK, and the UN Security Council delegations for their constructive engagement throughout the negotiations of UNTMIS resolution. We welcome the adoption of this resolution, which reflects the Council's commitment to implementing the request of the federal government of Somalia on the transitioning from UNSOM to United Nations country team within the next 2 years. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the leadership of the Secretary General, Mr. Guterres, and the dedication of UNSOM personnel over the past decade. We look forward to collaborating closely with the transition team as well as the United Nations country team on our priorities, particularly the implementation of the long-term development initiatives. Moreover, it's essential to prioritize nationalization during this drawdown phase. In that vein, we encourage UNTMIS to exert sustained efforts in the national procurement and employing the national staff, especially on Somali women, in order to contribute to local capacity building and investment in the local economy during the transition. Finally, Madam President, the federal government of Somalia remains committed to the Somali people's aspirations as we work towards peace and sustainable development. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Somalia. There are no more speakers on my list. The meeting stands adjourned.